Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show.
Good.
Hello and welcome to the 44th edition of Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across the United States of America. In today's Dr. VGP Talk Show, we are featuring and showcasing a not-for-profit youth organization that serves 450,000 kids. The goal of this incredible youth organization, established 23 years ago, is to empower youth to realize their potential, to understand their involvement in community, and is supported by a collaborative network of parents, community institutions, and a board of directors for this not-for-profit organization. Yes, Kids Matter in Naperville, Illinois is a leading not-for-profit organization that is of the youth, by the youth, and for the youth. And you're going to meet today the Chief Executive Officer, Nina Menis, who's every inch a youth in mind, body, and spirit, and who's very loyal, curious, and passionate, and ambitious about getting the dream of every youth in Naperville and beyond in DuPage County and Will County to realize their full potential in a very purposeful and very meaningful manner. The impact of Kids Matter is astounding. The number of programs, and sit back and enjoy this episode and learn more about the driving force of this not-for-profit organization christened and catering to the youth of Naperville and beyond in DuPage County and Will County, which is serving as a model, not only a national model, but I would truly say a global model. And this is what now America needs today in every metropolitan city, involving the youth who are today's citizens, not tomorrow's, making them feel their identity. And you won't believe it. I think Naperville is the first city in the whole of America that has made it a point through its most dynamic mayor, Scott Worley, to have a representative of a youth in every city council's committee. Isn't that great? Get enlightened. Sit back and listen to the incredible things happening in Naperville, the third largest city in Illinois. and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across Chicagoland. Today we have a very empowering guest on our show, and she is a philanthropic, focus-driven, empowering personality, and she has the ethnicity of several European countries, starting from England. She has a little bit of France in her, a little bit of Greek in her, and meet the one and only Nina Menis. Oh. Welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show.
Thank you.
Nina, we are so happy to have you. You know, when you say your last name is Menis, I know it's spelled as M-E-N-I-S.
Yes.
But I think it's pronounced as Dennis the Menace. And you're far from Dennis the Menace. She should be called Nina Mission. She is a lady fulfilling her mission here. And let's meet her and learn all what she's doing and what she has done. Nina, could you tell us about your early childhood and growing up days?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. So I was born in Iowa, and both my parents worked for a small college outside of Des Moines. And then we moved to Columbia, Missouri. And then following that, we moved to Illinois. And it was amazing. I was visiting with Vasavi earlier. And when we came to Naperville, I was in 3rd grade. And I immediately felt at home. It was really, really quite amazing. So I enjoyed growing up in Naperville for the last 50 years. I've been in Naperville. And in the summers when I was growing up, we would spend it on the farm in Iowa. And so I had country life in the summer and I had suburban life in the school year.
Wow, that's so interesting. And that answers my next question. While I was learning about you, I heard that you had a history in the development of education and agriculture management industry.
Yes.
I mean, what a unique combination,
yeah.
You know, and that being born in Iowa solves my answer why agriculture management, and today agriculture plays a very important role, not only in our country's economic, all the world over, and it's emerging as the fastest growing industry. Say no to hunger. It's one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And Naina, tell us about your college education.
Yeah, sure. So I went to Simpson College. And both my parents were involved at Simpson College, and a few of my other relatives. I majored in education and special education, and then I had an opportunity to start on my master's at Harvard. Took a few classes there, and really, really enjoyed that quite a bit.
Wow, great. So what was your first, with such a great educational background, what was your first job?
So my first job was at Lake Forest Academy in Lake Forest, Illinois. I was in charge of the annual giving fund for the academy, as well as the parents' council. So I got to work with a lot of the amazing leaders at Lake Forest Academy.
Great. I also read that you did spend 24 years in the Caton Farms.
Yes.
Tell us something about that. You were co-managers of the family agricultural operations.
Yeah.
Was that in Iowa, or was it?
Yeah, so we have farmland in Iowa and Illinois, and my sister and I co-manage it along with my father. He grew up on the farm and was born on the farm, and we still own the home that he was born in. So it's a lot of fun.
Very interesting. How did the transition from a successful agriculture entrepreneur? You also had spots of work in Brazil, right? As an agriculture management expertise.
Yes, so I've enjoyed kind of balancing both worlds of having experience in agriculture and then also being so involved in education. That's really 2 passion areas that I have.
So how did you come into the transforming world of not-for-profit?
Yes, great question. So My father was a consultant in advancement and working with nonprofits all around the country. And so my sister and I would go to his conferences, and we would go from age of 16 through college. And we both ended up pursuing that field and getting involved in nonprofits, working on partnerships and raising money for various nonprofits. And I kind of stayed in the education track.
Great.
Yeah.
Naina, now for the last 3 years, you have been the CEO and the Executive Director of Kids Matter, a very empowering youth organization serving 45,000 youth in DuPage and Will County. Tell us, how did Kids Matter start, and when did it start, and how has it grown to be such a forceful, meaningful, impactful organization serving Naperville and the Chicagoland?
Yeah, well, thank you for that question. I love Kids Matter. It's such an amazing organization. It started out of Edward Hospital about 25 years ago. They noticed an uptick in young people coming into the emergency room with suicidal ideation and drug and alcohol issues. Following that, they got a number of community leaders together to take a look at how they could proactively help support youth and families in our community, and then Kids Matter, the nonprofit, was born out of that.
Great. So Kids Matter is a not-for-profit organization right here in Naperville where we are.
Yeah.
We are in the headquarters of Kids Matter, and it serves youth. It's about 28 years old. How old is Kids Matter?
Yeah, so Kids Matter is 23 years old, the nonprofit, and it started a couple of years prior to that at the hospital before it became an official nonprofit.
You know, viewers, the mission of Kids Matter is building resilient kids who say no to destructive choices and yes to endless possibilities. Yeah. Could you expand on that profound mission statement?
Yes,
Ms. Menis?
I will. Thank you. So in the early years when Kids Matter was formed, they looked for a model, a data-driven model to help support young people. And they found the Search Institute that has 40 developmental assets. And so our work and our research is based on those 40 developmental assets, helping young people be empowered and successful in life. So we do a lot of work to help empower young people. This summer we'll have 80 kids exploring healthcare careers and 20 kids exploring construction management and the trades. So we're looking forward to that.
That's really awesome. Yeah. Now tell us, you earlier alluded to the creation of Kids Matter to get the youth as a mental health, because of the mental health ideation. And how are you trying to give alternative, are you providing some support services for youth who are facing challenges in mental health? As you know, today the biggest crisis America is going to face in 2013 is not all the wars which are going on, but it's going to be mental health crisis. As a public health expert, I really feel that organizations like you are going to be the war ground to prepare our youngsters who are today's future citizens, not tomorrow's, to face the challenges of mental health. What is Kids Matter doing in that direction?
That's such an important question, and I'm grateful for you bringing it up. Really, we've seen a real crisis in youth mental health over the last couple of years, particularly since COVID. We had 3 pediatric organizations declaring a youth mental health crisis, and the U.S. Surgeon General came out with an advisory on youth mental health as well as on social media. So we're really working hard as Kids Matter. We're involved in youth mental health first aid training. We've trained nearly 700 individuals across the area in partnership with Linden Oaks, and we've also been training in Spanish, so we're really appreciative of that. We do also sponsor the crisis text line in partnership with the DuPage County Health Department.
That was my next question. Talk about the crisis text line. How does it work? What is the texting message? How so the viewers and anybody who's listening to our program and viewing it, if they have a crisis, they know how to access Kids Matter's crisis text line.
Thank you for the question. So there are 2 opportunities for young people or adults, if they're in crisis, to get help. One is through a 988. You can dial 988 or you can text 988 and you'll get a trained crisis counselor to walk you through whatever crisis you're dealing with. The second one is another text line which we help to sponsor, which is 741-741, and you use the keyword reach. And
could you repeat that for our viewers?
Yes.
741,
Yes.
741, and the keyword is reach.
Reach, R-E-A-C-H. And then you'll get a trained crisis counselor to help you in anything you have. And what the great thing about that is that we receive data on what types of things people are texting about, which helps us with our programming. So we'll hear if someone is one month, they might be more concerned about school or relationships, so we'll get that information. We also get information on when they're texting, what day of the week, what time of the day, and what month has more text messages than others.
Great. Now, you talked about the texting and getting the data, which is very useful.
Yeah.
Does Kids Matter have an official kind of a connection with the school district system? And you get referrals from the school districts. How does that work?
Yeah, another great question. So we partner directly with school districts in the area. Both the superintendent in District 203 and in Indian Prairie District 204 serve on our advisory board. So they help to advise us on the different types of programs we should be holding. We also partner with them directly through a variety of ways throughout the school year when they call us. Recently, they had a reception for immigrant families for coming to the United States for the first time, and we were there and we helped support the children's area and played animal bingo and all sorts of things. So.
That's really good to know. You know, Kids Matter, you're building blocks of life, you're empowering the youth. Now, you know, you're emphasizing and focusing on parent support. Tell us, are there any special outreach to the parents, which is a very important part in molding and guiding and nurturing the youth, because of course the school has a role, the community has a role through Kids Matter and other organizations like y'all, but the parents have a big slice of the pie too at home. So how is the parental supportal aspect or vertical involved? How is Kids Matter? What is it doing to get the parental involvement today?
Yeah, so the parents and the guardians are really the key. We have different parent training sessions, parent resources on our website. We also go to resource fairs throughout the area and talk to parents every week. We do youth mental health first aid training for parents, and we work in partnership with the police department and Linden Oaks, and held a wonderful workshop at City Hall about protecting our youth, particularly involving social media. And the parents really appreciated that.
Good. You know, not only in Naperville and in Will County and DuPage County, I think across Chicagoland and across the country, today we are seeing the increased use of cannabis among the youth.
Yes.
We had the opioid crisis earlier, and now it's the fentanyl crisis. Yeah. Now, is Kids Matter offering some specific programs to combat and address those challenges?
Yeah.
For the young people, the parents, the community.
So we have in the past worked on a variety of programs for parents, and particularly in partnership with our police department here in Naperville, in letting parents know what to watch for and how to get a young person help. We also partner very closely with the DuPage County Health Department. They have a lot of resources. So Kids Matter acts kind of as a collective impact organization, and we work on connecting parents and youth to resources in our community.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Now, you know that community support is an important part of your mission statement. Now, I also find that Kids Matter is leading the collaborative youth team of 35 youth-led organizations serving the youth. So tell us about it. What is that collaborative effort doing? Where is that focus? And what can we expect from these 35 different agencies collaborating on empowering the youth? Especially most of the challenges are stress relief, mental health, and also training in the teen mental health first aid and participation in different fairs? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you asked that question because we had our meeting today.
Oh, so, no wonder you're so beautifully dressed. I was thinking Vasavi Chaka, our executive producer, made you dress up for my show.
Of course we would. Of course we would. So that morning was so inspirational. We have 37 organizations that support youth and families in our community, and we come together to talk about things that we can collectively do together. So we work really closely to support each other personally, to support our organizations, and then to support our work collectively together. So one of the things we're working on right now is social media, and not only social media and phone usage of kids, but also adults. And so we're working on a campaign. Nobody knows yet, but we're working on a campaign in October to give different tips to families and kids to have us focus on family time in October.
I think you're heading in the right direction. I read recently that one of the school districts have banned taking telephones in classrooms. They have to put the telephones in the lockers. I don't know if the Naperville school districts have made that a policy, but I recently read about it. What is your opinion on that? And
we talked about that today, so I'm so grateful for the question. So we learned today through both school districts 203 and 204 that in many of the classrooms they'll have places for students to put the cell phones when they come in the classroom, so they're totally focused. And we heard a story about a young woman who really grumbled about that. She kind of grumbled about putting her cell phone away, but then after that first week, she said, that wasn't so bad. I kind of appreciated the opportunity. I'm much more calmer in class, and so the school districts are doing a great job.
Thank you for sharing the insight on that. It's really helpful, Naina. Naina, another question is, Kids Matter has a leadership academy. Tell us what is the leadership academy? Does it nurture today's leaders to be inclusive? What does it do?
Yeah, so that's another great story about Kids Matter. So early on at Kids Matter, they did a community-wide survey of youth to find out which assets might be lower in the youth in our community. And they found out that the youth didn't feel as connected to their community, didn't feel like they had a voice. So one of the city council person that was on the Kids Matter board, Dick First now, took it to the city council and said, we would like to ask you to involve students on boards and commissions in the city of Naperville. And so they did. And so they voted on that. And so now today, students have a voice.
In each of the different Naperville City Council committees?
Yes.
That's a great accomplishment, and that's right. So I'm all for this youth empowerment, and that's the step in the right direction. Yeah. Congratulations. And that's what I was going to ask you next. We have today in Mayor of the city of Naperville, Scott Worley, a very progressive, focused, driven. His first task force was on mental health. Yeah. And we have had him on our Dr. VGP Talk Show earlier, prior to selection. He gave such a wonderful, impactful address of how he's going to make Naperville the most resilient city, especially post-COVID. Now, this warms my heart to learn that the city of Naperville councils have addressed and included youth in each of their committees. I mean, that's a great action speaks louder than words. And I congratulate Nina Menis and the Kids Matter Executive Board for having that initiative, brought it to fruition. It's one thing to think of an idea, put it on paper, sit and discuss for hours on committees, but to really get it done, it's a thumbs up for Kids Matter.
Thank you.
And having said that, how has the Mayor, Scott Worley, and the Naperville City Council in particular supporting Kids Matter?
Yeah, I love that question. Mayor Worley has a really big commitment to youth mental health. And on day one, he brought a number of community leaders together, including Kids Matter, to sit around the table to talk about what we were going to do. And so together with the police department, the fire department, the school districts, other nonprofits that work in mental health, and North Central College, we developed a suicide disruptor program. And since that time, we've had 2 training sessions. So 60 students have been trained, and we included the hospital. So the students had an opportunity opportunity to hear from the chief of police, and he always said, if you see something, say something. You will never get in trouble for calling 911. And they got to hear from the head of the ER and what happens when a young person comes to the ER. And they got to hear from professionals in the mental health field, and they talked about different scenarios, and it was very helpful.
I think it's a very collaborative effort to bring all the heads of the department face to face, so the students get a chance actually to hear right from the source and the head. I think that example can be shared with all the other school districts, especially in Chicago public school districts and other school districts, because that's something you have led the way. And I would like to congratulate yourself and Mayor Scott Worley for implementing that. And I'm sure the suicide disruptive program would have stopped the number of suicides usually happening. And tell us about what are the challenges. I mean, Kids Matter, you've been 3 years the CEO, and everybody, when I said I'm going to have Nina Menis on the talk show, everybody was saying thumbs up, she's great, and we're waiting to hear the show. So I know with any not-for-profit or any organization, be it corporate, be it private, be it public, there are great strengths and there is also great challenges. It's all not an easy ride and think the sky is blue. So tell us about some of the challenges day to day you face and what you faced in the past, how you overcame it, and what do you foresee as challenges for Kids Matter as you grow?
Yes, it's a great question. Really, Kids Matter is still the same organization it was when it started. It's focused on kids, empowering young people to say yes to endless possibilities. And so our work is we're able to do it because of philanthropic donations to Kids Matter. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, balancing the wonderful programs that we do and making sure to involve all sorts of people so that we can have the philanthropic support to be able to do them. And we're so grateful that this community and DuPage County and Will County and a bit of Kane have been very, very supportive of youth and families. And we've been able to do the things we can do.
Great. Now you told us the challenges. What about the successes under your leadership particularly of Kids Matter?
Well, it's been an amazing year. And it's because of our wonderful board leadership and our advisory board like Vasavi. We're so grateful for the support we've had. And because they said yes to be serving on a board or advisory board or making a donation or volunteering, we've been able to reach so many more kids and families in our area than we ever have before. We are working with 80 young people this summer to study healthcare careers and go on field experience, get college credit, get a Team Mental Health First Aid certification. We're working with 20 young people interested in construction management in the trades and field experiences. We had 700 folks that we trained in Teen Mental Health First Aid and Youth Mental Health First Aid, and we have all these wonderful programs and support from the community.
Naina, you sound, it's so befitting. I'd like to make an appeal to all our viewers. Well, you're here hearing from the CEO, the chief of Kids Matter, a leading not-for-profit organization for youth in Naperville, serving 450,000 kids in DuPage County and Will County. And one of their biggest challenges is, like anybody else, philanthropic support. I'm asking you all now to write a generous check right today to Kids Matter, and we have the information down the screen. We'll go with the address, mail it in, or look up Kids Matter Naperville in Google. I'm sure they have a web page where there is the support button, because organizations like this are so important and integral to the success, peace and prosperity for each one of us, not only Naperville. We have to set a demonstration model. Here is a model where is serving for last 23 years. We all talk about missing kids, kids having suicide, hearing deaths, starting a Grow Fund up, but here we need to support sustainably, even if it's $1, $5, $500, $1,000, $20,000, $100,000, make your donations to Kids Matter. This is a place building resilient kids who say no to destructive choices and yes to endless possibilities. Naina, having heard this, and I'm making a pitch here, what will you tell our viewers? What's the vision for Kids Matter in 2024 to 2030? Tell us the vision. So that they will know what Kids Matter is doing, excite them to support you. You can come here and volunteer time. You can give cash donations, check donations, in-kind contributions, and take this as your personal project today. Go ahead, Ms. Menis.
Well, thank you. So again, we're so grateful for everybody that supports kids and families. We're very appreciative, and it allows us to do the programming in our communities, and we wouldn't be able to do it without people saying yes. So we hope that you'll say yes. We do research. Everything we do is data-driven. So the 40 developmental assets that we help build in young people, they've proven that the more assets a young person has.
What are those
so there are 40 development assets. It's about
top
their identity, their sense of hope for the future, if they feel like they have a voice in their community, if they feel like they have support, if they feel like they have expectations.
Very important,
All
each one of
those
them.
things.
Wow.
And what's fascinating to me is that the data over the last 20 years has shown that the more these assets young people have, the more successful they are in life, and the more likely they are to say no to destructive choices. So our goal is to help young people say yes to endless possibilities and no to destructive choices. And with your help, we can do that.
Great. You just heard Nina Menis, the CEO of Kids Matter, talking to us about empowering kids to realize their purpose, know their value, and find their pathway. You know, it's one of the finest organizations, as we here at the headquarters of Kids Matter in Naperville. Really, Nina Menis, I'd like to thank Naperville City Councilman Paul Leong.
Yeah.
You know, when I was talking to Paul Leong and saying, this is Asian American Men Month, Councilman Paul Leong, we'd like you to be portrayed in our talk show. He said, I'm not interested in being in front line. I'm not interested in being showcased. I serve the people of Naperville. But if you really want to showcase something great that is happening in Naperville, which is heavy on our hearts, go to Kids Matter and interview Nina Menis. And Arista, his wife, said, yes, Dr. VGP, do that. So then I scratched my head. I don't know who Nina Menis is. I thought I'm going to meet this gigantic lady. I called our executive producer, Dr. Vasi Chaka. Oh, I'm on the advisory board of Kids Matter. That's a great choice. I was going to tell you that. Let's go to Kids Matter, and here we are with Nina Menis, such a vibrant, radiant lady. I thought I was going to meet, the way I heard, I'm going to meet some mother superior of a convent. Coming from the British era, but here Naina is so full of life, so full of positive energy, and now I know that the youth and the students of Naperville are in safe hands. And we would like to support Kids Matter. We have the Global Eye magazine. We'll have this interview transcribed and published there. And we'd like to collaborate with you on all your programs. And we are really excited. And would like to thank Naperville Councilman Paul Leong, as well as Dr. Vasi Chaka, for putting you all on the global map through Dr. VGP Talk Show. You know, it's been such an enlightening interview today. I learned a lot today from you and what Kids Matter is doing. Nina Menis, you're such a multifaceted personality. You have such a wide breadth of knowledge. I'm especially peeved and interested to know about your agriculture management initiatives. I need a separate chat with you on that, because I serve on a national agriculture task force and I'm learning. So we're talking on the earlier meeting I got delayed because some farmers from Indiana and Iowa were there meeting with me on getting fresh food produce into the food deserts in South Chicagoland. So I didn't least expected, like you said, you had your meeting today with the collaborative leadership.
Yes.
I talked about for 2 hours and here I'm here with an expert. Thank you, God. That's how God does divine intervention. Now tell us, on a closing note, if you're given a choice to take 3 people out for dinner, who would they be? That will give our viewers an insight who your mentors are, who inspires you, so go ahead.
That's such a hard question. I think that there are so many people in the world, right, that have amazing ideas and thoughts. One person that I would take out a kindergartner for lunch.
Kindergarten
A
student.
kindergarten student. And learn more from them about their school day, how we could be supportive. I think that would be a lot of fun. Also, the Secretary for Education in the United States, I'm going to a conference this summer, Jobs for the Future, and they're having 3 former secretaries for education there, and I'm going to text them all and see if they'll be open for lunch or coffee. I think that would be great. And then the other person that I think I would enjoy seeing is Caroline Kennedy. Caroline Kennedy took time out of her life to run a foundation for a public school in her community, and she got paid $1. And I read a big story about her, and I thought that would be so fascinating to learn about her passion for education.
Viewers, the 3 people from present or past who are interviewed today, Nina Menis would like to take out for dinner, the first one is a very profound statement, a kindergarten. And that's a real great answer, because I learn a lot from 6 to 7, 8-year-old kids.
Yeah.
They tell you the truth that no learned, noble laureate can tell you.
Yeah,
and I always make it a point to make a conversation. So that shows you have a brilliant mind. And that reveals another part of you. The second is she would like to take out for dinner a secretary, U.S. Secretary of Education, who are usually in Washington, D.C. And the third person she said that she would like to take out for dinner is Carolina Kennedy, because she has done significant work in education field. So that was very well said. Now, how will you describe you in 3 words? Now, if I ask Dr. Chakka, she will give you she'll give the whole dictionary to describe you. But how will you describe yourself in 3 words?
I think I am a loyal person. I would say that I'm curious, and I would say that I'm passionate about education. So I know that's not one word, but I'm really passionate about education.
Great. You just heard Nina Menis, the CEO of Kids Matter, which serves 450,000 kids in DuPage County and Will County. Describing herself in 3 words. One is loyal. That's a very powerful word, friends. Second is curious. That means always willing to learn. And third is passionate. And you can see her passion through how she talked about what she's doing, what she did, and what she's going to do. It has been an incredible evening here today at Naperville with you and your most erudite, action-packed interview, may I call it, or a talk show. You've expressed so much of what you're doing, and we can't wait to broadcast this so others may learn about Kids Matter in Naperville. On a parting note, Nina Menis, if I got it right.
You did, yeah.
And you're far from Dennis the Menace. I would say you're Naina, the missionary for youth and education.
Thank you.
Okay. And what you're doing in Naperville will have its spark and reflections not only across the United States but across the globe. Because this is a model program, we need to take it on the road. Could you tell our viewers, what is your parting message? Not necessarily the youth, to our viewers in general.
Yeah.
Please address the audience.
So I really have the opportunity to speak at a variety of different areas, and I like to close with this one point. Over COVID, we had a chance to have a lot of meetings about young people and how they're dealing with COVID, and how teachers are really working hard to monitor how the kids are doing in the class. And so one teacher told a story about how she helps to monitor the kids in her class. And she has a piece of paper, and she asked them a 1, 2, 3. So she asked them to write down one after-school activity. Asked them if they have one after-school activity, if they could write that down. And then she asked them, number 2, if they could write down 2 friends. And then the third thing she asked them is to write down 3 caring adults. And so I thought about that when I heard that myself, and I thought, who am I a caring adult to? What young person would put my name down? So I ask all of you, in your world, in your circles, you probably have many young people in your families, in your neighborhoods, at the grocery store. And so I would just ask you, so sometime slow down a little bit, send them a text, pick up the phone, talk to the person bagging your groceries, and be a caring adult in their world.
What a profound message you heard from the CEO of Kids Matter, Nina Menis. Kids Matter equips the youth and families with tools to manage the stress of everyday life through dynamic school and community programs, practical education, as you heard, and youth recognition, another part of Kids Matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nina Menis, for joining us and for sharing such a great insight and how you're molding today's citizens, the youth of Naperville and beyond. Thank you so much for being on Dr. VGP Talk Show. Thank you so much, Nina Menis, for being with us today at Dr. VGP Talk Show. I'm sure all you viewers learned so much, and I'm sure you're going to contribute and support Kids Matter in Naperville. We are so happy to have you on our show and to know the importance of the civic government's involvement in not-for-profit community activities.
Yes.
And that's a big step, and we all in Naperville and beyond should realize and have the right leaders who can support programs like this, which make a difference in every one of our lives. Thank you, Nina Menis, again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.